Get found, be seen, decide to take the stage. Unlock your potential, let the world engage. Get found, be seen, we're breaking through the noise with every rhythm.
Ho!
Hello.
We're back. It's that day.
It is. It is that wonderful, wonderful day.
Which is, what day is that?
The Get Found Be Seen Day.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Whoa. That was nice.
Well, a Monty Monday, if you will.
If you will.
If you will. Happy Monday. And welcome back to this wonderful episode of Get Found and
Be seen. Bam. Just like your program.
Only different.
Only different. Only different. Oh, that was a good beat. That was a good rhythmic pattern right there. I love it. We play well off each other. I love it.
Indeed. Indeed.
Monty, it's great to be back. I'm loving life. Dude, I'm in my commander's chair. My wife got me a new chair. She's like, look, you need another chair. And I'm like, I love it. You know, you ever had something like you don't want to let it go? It's just that sentimental to you. My chair was all jacked up. You know, the round part you could put your foot on. That round part was broken off. Oh, it was sharp sticking out. And I'm like, don't cut my leg, but I gotta have this chair. It's my chair. But this chair she got me, ooh, it's like a commander's chair in an RV. I'm loving it. I'm like, yeah, feeling that. Loving life.
Don't know until you try.
Don't know till you try. You know, so yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it go. I knew that too, but I'm like, it's just come back chair. Changes.
I'm comfortable with my comfy chair, the thing I'm used to. A new chair, it might be bumpy or the wrong angle or squeak or hard. It might not feel comfy. It might.
Yeah, it might not squeak at the right time. It's got to be right.
Yeah. Or wow, it might be softer. It might be a captain's chair. It might tilt back. It might have a little round thing where I can put my feet instead of being broken off with sharp things or cutting me. Did you put duct tape on those?
You know, I did. I put duct tape on another part, though. Not that part, but another part. You got me. That's how bad it was. The soft part had parts that were just ripped off. You can see the sponge on the inside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is some people consider that, worn out, and other people just consider that worn in.
Worn in, yeah. I'm just like, it was my friend, Monty.
Yeah.
But I like this new friend though. This new friend's
I was gonna say
wider, it's comfortable, and yeah, loving it. Loving it.
Sweet. So every voice matters.
Every voice matters. That's right.
That's an interesting title. I mean, this is a topic that we pulled out of the vault so that we could come at it with some new angles.
Right.
And one of those new angles is my topic recently of every voice matters, to help counteract AI.
Mm-hmm.
In this AI generative world of text generation, post generation, video generation, audio, song generation, just you name it. They're generating it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're generating it based on all this human information. But now, out there in the world, there's the human information and the AI information. And so at one point, there's going to be some contamination.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to keep feeding in as much human as we can. So every voice matters. Everybody putting out their perspective. Right. The false belief is, well, there's other people out there already talking about the topic that I could talk about, that know more than me. They've been doing it longer than me. They already have an audience of a gajillion people in 7. There's no reason for me to do it. Yes, there is.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Robert. Hey, Robert, how's it going? This was an interesting point to join the call. Couldn't tell you what you were talking about.
Couldn't tell what we were talking about. Yeah. Yeah. When you jump in on conversations, it can be interesting for sure. Yeah.
Jump
We're
on
actually
in.
talking about creating videos and how everyone, I'm gonna say it, how everyone kind of has an obligation as a human in the world we live in right now to create videos with some content of value. And it's not necessarily you should make courses and go all out there, but
Right.
everyone's perspective is important.
Right.
And even though other people might have the same perspective, they're probably not going to say it in the same way. They're not going to reach the same people. They're not going to resonate with the same people in the same way. There's so many variables involved.
Right. That's true. And I agree with you, especially if it's for a lot of us, right, Monty? It's been on our mind and our hearts to create a video, to put something out there of value, right? But it's just like, nah, forget it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to what I'm used to. Kind of like, you ready for this? Kind of like my chair. You see where I'm going? You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah. Or another aspect of that, another angle, why doing co-hosting stuff is so awesome, is that perhaps you only do one kind of video.
Mm-hmm.
Or you only post it in one place, or there's some other, singularity about it.
Right.
Where you have an opportunity to amplify without a lot of extra effort. That's what my whole point about amplification is. If it takes a bunch of effort, it's not amplification. It's just trading more effort for result.
Yeah. Ooh,
but if you're already doing a video, there's multiple ways of doing things with that same video, especially with that AI we were talking about. Use it like the tool that it is. Get some transcripts, get some shorts if you made something long, get some B-roll to add in or use it as B-roll. I mean, there's so many ways you can repurpose video.
Oh, you're pausing right there, Monty.
Oh, I paused, huh?
You're pausing right there, my friend.
Well, it's raining hard. I don't know, the weather could be affecting my internet.
For some reason, you are pausing, Monty. I'm gonna look at my monitor. Can you hear me, Monty?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. For some reason, maybe it's my side. I don't know.
My side is showing both of us. Everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah, there's a little delay right there. But, it's technology. Of course, it's going to happen.
It is what it is.
It is.
Like I said, I live in a rural area, so sometimes the internet gets a little wonky.
I hear that. Even in the city, does it too.
This is true. Different reasons. I want to make sure I didn't miss what you said. As far as using what I got last was you can use video and you can use it. You can use the AI to transcribe and different things like that, right? Right. Yeah. So use AI for the tool that it is.
Right.
Get some transcriptions. Get those shorts if you made something longer. But if you just do shorts already, then you can use them as B-roll. You can add B-roll into them to make them different, more try different ways of visual hooks. Putting them out on different platforms.
Right.
There's a bunch of ways of amplifying. And then my point there was amplification. We want to take what we're already doing so that we're not doing extra work. Because if you're doing extra work, then you're not amplifying anything, unless the extra work gets you more than what you put into it. But the concept is, let's not do anything more. Let's just do more with what we've done.
Right. Let's maximize what we have. And let it, like you mentioned, I love that word, amplification. Absolutely. And for those who don't know, short form, when I talk about shorts like shorts you wear, but short form videos, that you can have. You can have short. It's constantly changing. Some people do 30 seconds, some people do 15 seconds, some people do 60 seconds, some people do more, under 3 minutes. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about short form video.
Short form video, so that covers all the different names, so we don't have to cover reels and all the names of the different platforms that they call, and then there's specifics. Well, if it's over this amount, then it's no longer a reel, then it's something, I don't know.
Right.
Point is, that part's not the important part, because there's a lot of other variables of which ones are the most important. The fact of identifying potential opportunities to amplify what you got.
Right. And the point
stems from you said, people not making videos, and I was also just expanding on to, well, maybe they only make one kind of video. Even if someone's making multiple videos, hearing other ideas can spark ideas. Let's go back to where you started with, that I don't make videos because I don't want to be on screen, because I don't have the time, because I don't like to edit, because I don't want to buy all the extra tools.
I'm an introvert.
I'm an introvert. Again, that's just an extension of that first, I don't want to be on screen, potentially. Although there's a whole other show to identify and describe an introvert, because we're an introvert, and we like to be on screen.
Right.
Not all the time.
Right.
I think that okay. Well, the key here is the one description about we need to recharge. So it's whatever we do, we can do anything. Introverts aren't held back. It's that we want to fall back purposely, strategically, and recharge before we come back into the fray again.
Yep.
Those extroverts are in the fray and they're just going. They don't need to rest. That's okay. We need them. They hold the front while we fall back and recoup.
And assess. And assess.
It's all good.
It's all good. But with being on video, it's a great opportunity. I know, like you mentioned, we don't always want to be in the video all the time. Like for me, like I tell people when I'm doing presentations, I'm like, and people get surprised all the time because my background being a performer, but I had to be that way for a specific reason. I don't get in front of people. I'm not performing. If I don't perform, I'm not going to do what I need to do. If I don't do what I need to do, I'm not going to feed my family. You know what I mean? So the motivation was different and I got used to it, but I learned so much along the way, but being in front of people, it's not something that I love to do, where some people, they love being in front of people. Like even being in a room, I don't always love that, but knowing what it does for people, knowing the value that you can give to people is a big deal. And when you see the results of what you're able to deliver for people, that could be a motivation for you. That could help you to get yourself on camera, on video.
Yeah, that I like your description. So that unique motivation.
Unique motivation. Ooh, I like that, Monty.
It's again, context and perspective.
Right.
But what works for one person isn't going to work for another person. And therefore, one person's motivation is meaningless to another person, or far less motivational than it is for the first person.
Right. And that's where, and I'm learning this, even I love that you said that, Monty, because it reminds me, when someone even starts a process like this, it is important to be able to develop that self-awareness, to learn about yourself. Because if you have that self-awareness and you understand, you can figure out, okay, well, what would be my motivation? What will help me in this journey? Because like you mentioned, it's going to work. Different things will work for different people, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's and understanding frameworks. So when we talk about something and say, here's some steps to take,
right,
that it's meant to be interpreted based on context and perspective. So that way it can actually provide a result versus just some steps that work for some people and not others.
Yeah. I'm smiling about that because that's like coming into this world, that's what I learned. Hey, take this framework. They didn't say framework. Then it said, what was the word they used? Like a checklist sometimes, but it's like I forgot the word.
Method, system.
Method, system.
There's a lot of different
It
words
was
for
more
it.
on a paper. Here's my template. Take this
Okay,
template.
there you go.
Take this template and all your problems will be gone. And we're finding out that that don't work all the time for everyone. And it's not that something's wrong with the person who's trying to take on that system, but it's important even for us as coaches to help people to figure out and develop that self-awareness and to spark that thought that they can be on that journey,
Awareness. Self-awareness. Yeah, so let's take a look here. What I think this was my thought from the original episode.
Yeah.
But the main reason to do some videos versus just text content is that people read the text differently. Text as in words, not a text on the phone, a blog post, a social media post, an email, words, some text, how the inflection, when you pause, does the person, like me, stick in commas where they're not supposed to because you're trying to force the pauses into sentence, because if they don't read it with the pause, it loses emphasis or it loses some context.
Right.
So there's this, if I can just say it myself, then they hear my voice. They're going to be reading it and he said this. It's like, well, yeah, because you paused at the wrong spot or you didn't pause when you were supposed to.
Right. It's huge. It's a big deal. And they don't get the emotion. They don't get the emotion. And sometimes they may not get the intention behind it as well. But if you do it via video, you see me in my raw form, whether I'm doing live or if I am pre-recorded, and the video's even edited, at least you can see my raw form of my emotion. Even if with my mistakes, even if I get it a little more polished, you get a sense of my presence. I had to say that, Monty. You get a sense of my presence. You get a sense of my intent. You get a sense of my essence, my emotion, what I'm trying to convey and how I'm trying to convey it to you. So I could drive home a point and you can hear my heart,
Yeah. Again, there's just so much that can be lost. You with text, you can speak louder and you can yell with exclamation points. But it's kind of hard to whisper or to talk pronunciationally. You like how I made up that word?
Mm-hmm.
So that
creative,
you can make your point.
Yeah.
You can try and do it in text, and there's different ways of attempting to do that, but people interpret that differently because there's no rules on how you're supposed to read those.
They do.
And even if there were, people would interpret those rules differently and do it the way they wanted to do it anyway. And so the only way to guarantee that something comes across the way you want it to be said,
right,
is to say it yourself. Some things you just, if you want it done right, you just got to do it yourself.
Do it yourself. You got to say it yourself. That's right. I know for me, when I'm listening, like sometimes when I'm even doing reading a blog, sometimes I don't have the time. So I have to put it into an app that's going to read it off for me. So even with that, it's going to have that robot sound, which is, I don't get the feeling of in which the person's speaking, but for me, when I'm doing that, I'm kind of bringing my own story into it, which that's what we're humans. That's what we do. But if I don't understand the person's background and where they're coming from, it's just hard to get the message. And that's the beauty of video and even auditorily hearing what they're saying. I can get where they're coming from, and I'm more likely to latch on quicker to where they're trying to lead me.
So here's back to the your voice matters and counteracting AI, because it's getting better and better at sounding like emotion. Notice I said sounding like.
Yeah.
And there's that difference with if you are putting out content, if you are putting out something you're emotionally charged about, tell me how you really feel. There's just, those are where the nuances, those are where the uniquenesses, those are where I resonate with that person. Oh, I like, but sometimes they don't even know why. I don't even know why I resonate with certain people. Sometimes the tone of voice, the way they said, sometimes it's what they say, but sometimes it's like, well, once again, there's dozens of people saying the same thing all over the place on every topic. That's why diversity and choice is so awesome.
Right.
And therefore it validates the point of we can spread our voice and put our voice out there. And even if we don't reach millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people, it doesn't take that many to make a difference.
Right.
Typically it takes one.
Right.
If you can make a difference for one, I love the saying, it's like, you might not have changed the world for everyone, but you changed that one person's world.
Ooh, I love that. Love that.
Yeah. So, and then of course, I mean, if you did it once, what's going to stop you to do it again?
Right.
And you can't get to the one until you start.
Yeah.
And then it's been this way for a while, and now it's for different reasons, but video is one of the hookiest connection points on our platforms, whether you call them social media or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hey, Monty, you mind me mentioning this too? And I love when you mentioned the whole when you said stop, when you talked about starting. Can we speak a little bit about that, or speak to that a little bit? Because I think it's important for our hearers to understand, hey, starting doesn't have to be a big climb to a mountain. You could keep it simple.
Just go to our YouTube, go to our website, go to episode number 1. Imperfect action. That's our example, our story, getting started.
Right. And if you need some help with that, we'll let you know where to go by the end of our podcast.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. But I just want to stress that, because I know it's not easy, because even if you have a victorious week, starting over and doing it again is not easy. So it's a process. So it's something to keep in mind too as you go.
Absolutely. It's a process. It's the pivot process.
The pivot process.
The pivot process. Yes, indeed.
I like that framework.
Just the concept. It's simple visual. It's like I need to possibly just pivot.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, maybe a lot.
Right.
Context and perspective. We'll figure it out.
But it's important though, understanding the steps, even if it's just a checklist, but if it's a method you have and people could follow it and you make it easy, that's a big deal. If people latch onto it, so they could, it's really helpful as far as even doing what we're doing with this in this context of the every voice matters, so.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's that reaching that one person.
Yeah.
And so therefore, to reach the one person, if you just talk about all these different points in different ways and different times and put them out there in different places, your chances of reaching that one person just start exponentially increasing.
It does. And that's wow, that's another topic we could talk about in the future too. You got to keep at it. Got to keep the message going. You might get bored of it, but your audience needs to hear it as you put stuff out on video.
When it's interesting too, though. You think your topic, because you take it for granted, you think your topic is old and redundant, and so that it's that different perspective.
Right.
It's the way you said it, when you said it, timing. That's another big one. And you can't control that.
Right.
What happens in someone else's life that makes them receptive. So the only thing you can do is make sure that your message is out there, so that when someone does have that life-altering moment that flips the switch from I'm not receptive to your message to, oh my goodness, I resonate with that. That's how I feel. How do you know how I'm feeling?
Right. Everything's timing. And, there's psychology behind that too, as far as how often you got to be in front of someone for them to be able to receive what you want to offer them and things such as that.
Right. And that's statistics, and you can look at it from different angles and so on and so on. If you just boil that down to the person is going to go from non-receptive to receptive at some point for some reason that you cannot calculate. So therefore, your best bet, since there's not just one of them out there, that there's tons of people out there that will become receptive or that are already receptive, possibly. But there's that number of times you're in front of them, how many times they consume your content and all that kind of stuff. Is that also that they're interested, but they're not fully receptive yet. And there's that all of a sudden, because you made a little bit of resonance. It's like, I like what he said there. I kind of feel like that, And then they go to work and they experience something and they come home and they're like, and they see your next thing and they're like, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel.
Right. That journey.
Right. Yeah. Not only their journey, but your journey.
Right.
And then the mutual journey.
Right. You meet each other along the way. Or you're finally able to connect.
Right. Which starts with, it's a mutual journey. You don't know about it, but they're consuming content.
Right.
And then at some point, there's a connection, whether they've clicked on something to, signed up, you get their email. And so now there's some communication happening. Yeah. Sign up for a consultation.
Oh, yeah.
It's not always a sale. That's where a lot of people think that, I need to get into this program and teach me how to sell stuff.
Yeah.
And I really love the saying, somebody told me this the other day. They're like, this guy's such a good salesman. He could sell a freezer to an Eskimo. I was like, oh my, that's dating yourself there a little bit. Because first of all, saying Eskimo, I think, is socially unacceptable in some places. But anyway, the point being is that, well, okay, so you can sell an item to somebody who doesn't need it. Where are you going to sell the next one? Right. Not to them or anyone they know. So selling isn't necessarily a good thing unless you want to keep doing it over and 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 over. Did I mention doing it over? Raggy.
One more time. No.
So that building relationships and having a long-term relationship and helping somebody through a journey.
Right.
There's much less selling involved.
Right.
Because then it becomes the next logical step. I love that phrase.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Logical. It's yes. I love logic. I thrive on logic. Although I'm an emotionally logical person.
Me too.
Figure that one out.
I know. Think about that one.
The best way I can describe that is, if I want to purchase something, I'm really different than other people. I don't get all emotional about the purchase and then afterwards try and justify why I did it. I justify why I should do it and get all emotional about justifying I should do it and do it. I used to think that I did it logically and there was no emotion involved. And then I figured out that it's like, oh, I get all emotional and giddy about the logical part of it. But there's still the emotion that drives the whole
emotion.
Yeah, it's just the logic isn't very driving. I mean, that's statistical. That's why I don't complete a lot of unnecessary projects that were like, oh, I wonder if I could do this, like with website building. It's like, oh, I wonder if I can make this happen. And I get like 75% of the way there. And then it's like, yep, all I have to do is a little bit more like that and I can make it happen. I'm done. I don't need the result. I just need to know if I could do it.
Right.
Yeah, so that helps me with, let's bring that back around. That helps me with making videos because I understand how to break that down and get those little half steps. So the getting started is where that all started on.
Which is important.
And in perfect action, with like our first episode, which came down to when I invited you to say, hey, let's do a podcast and let's do it live. And the live part was to get started. Because I had already broke down and figured out that myself was, if I have to record it and then edit it and then upload it and then schedule, and then I was like, it's not going to get done.
Right.
In my context and perspective at that time, I would not get it done. It would just not get done. Right. And so I looked at that and said, hey, how can I circumvent all of that? Hey, if we stream live, there's no excuse. I can't say, well, I didn't really like it that much. I didn't have enough time to edit it. I didn't get around to, or the file got corrupted. There's another thing I was thinking about where streaming is so terrible. It's like we're streaming in so many locations, man. We can download it from anywhere. So
right.
A file being corrupted is a mere inconvenience instead of a catastrophic loss.
Right. Well, hey, can we set up a time to record this again?
Right. Been there, done that.
Right. As
a guest, the host had some issues. Didn't like the way it turned out. Wanted to re-record.
Yeah, that's
I was happy to do it. Not complaining. Just analyzing and being aware of time spent doing things.
Right.
Although in that circumstance, if it had been streamed live, they would have been devastated that it was posted already and they didn't get the chance to edit it and stuff. So in their context and perspective, that don't work. Not for them.
Yeah, that's true.
So again, getting started, it's like, well, and a framework. It's not that any one way of doing it is going to be the best. The imperfect action is the framework. How can you circumvent the things that are stopping you so you can just get the first thing going?
Huh. That's like a keep it simple, Monty.
I think it is. I have to say, therefore, the new acronym for AI.
Ooh, tell me.
Awareness and intent.
Awareness and intent. And that is that's your acronym for AI. We're not talking about AI, but we're talking about your acronym.
My acronym.
I love it.
For awareness and intent. Just be aware of the situation and then be intentful. It's like, I know that I have these hangups. I know that this is a big old obstacle for me.
Yeah.
What could I do to circumvent that? Not necessarily as the permanent solution, because it's going to be imperfect. I know that I'm going to want to make it better. But if I was to overcome this obstacle and do it this way, I'd want to make it better too.
Right.
So I'm not really losing anything. I'm actually gaining that first half step. Hey, let me get started.
Right. I love it. AI.
Bam!
Bam. I love it. And I say this too, for those out there who are considering it, because I know for me, even as an artist and a performing artist for years, over 36 years, it was still hard to try to get out there and get on video. Sometimes you could be afraid of what people are going to think about you. You could be afraid, hey, this is going to rub people the wrong way, or I have nothing to talk about. Being in that process of just getting started, and trying to keep it simple, trying to be aware, striving to be aware, and then being intentful, like Monty talked about, so helpful. And there are some nuances to that, and you could shout us out. We can give you a hand with that. But it's not as hard as you think. That's my side of the whole keeping it simple. It's not as hard as you think.
Love it. Yeah, just drop a comment wherever you're watching this. All those platforms, give us a little notification. There was a comment on your thing.
Right. Let us know. Yeah, let us know your thoughts on this. Is it a challenge for you to record or go live with the video? Comment yes, no. Say whatever you want to say. Absolutely whatever you want to say, let us know.
We want to know.
We want to know. Monty, I think that's about everything.
Yeah, that's a good coverage of that vault topic. I like that you pulled that out of the archived section.
Archive. We got to call this something cool, like Vault Talk or something like that. Special Vault Talk episode of Get Found, Be Seen. Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, we'll toss that one around.
Toss it around.
See
toss
what things generate. Coalesce from the fog.
Coalesce. And Monty, so if we got people out there that's like, listen, I need to figure this out. Where do I start? I heard I need to start with knowing who my target audience is. Is that true? Yes, no. Anything along that lines.
Yeah, that's if you're at that stage of so that would be before the making a video part. That's the confused stage I was at before Carl and I started making stuff, when I was just trying to figure out, well, what do I make? What do I do with it? Where do I put it? How do I make a funnel? What is a funnel? A tech and funnel anyway.
Funnel cake.
So if you'd like to have a little more insight on that journey, you can visit montyarmstrong.com and start seeing some of that journey.
Start seeing some of that journey. And I love that you said that's the beginning. It should be, because it's not like you want to just jump on video and talk about anything. You want to understand your ideal client, your ideal audience. So yes, indeed, Monty.
Yes, indeed.
Well put.
But if someone's identified that and they've moved on to that stage where they're like, I need to start making videos, but insert context and perspective here. They need help with their presence. They need help with their confidence. Where could they go to get that help?
You can go to carlaline.com. And if you got one of these bad boys right here and you're like, man, what do I do with this? It starts with this, but yeah, you got to help me out. Holla at your boy. Shout me out. Would love to give you a hand. Let's get you going.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It can be fun.
It's good. It's good.
It doesn't have to be all encompassing.
Keep it simple.
No overwhelm.
Keep it. So what's that word you talk about now too?
My new favorite word. How many favorite words can I have? I don't know all the ones I'm using. Unwhelmed.
Unwhelmed.
Yes, you want to become unwhelmed and stay unwhelmed.
I like that. That is simple. And that's what we need. So Let's go.
That's the essence of identifying the blockage and coming up with a workaround. I don't need to be overwhelmed with all that blockage. I'm going to stay unwhelmed, get myself a half step under my belt. And from there, I have new context and perspective. We'll look at the landscape again and apply the pivot method. Man, there's nothing that'll stop you.
That's right. Start today. Don't delay. And you've been listening to and watching another edition of Get Found
And be seen.
And we'll talk to you later. Enjoy your week.
Have a great week.
And don't forget, start. Peace.
It all starts with